Hello YouTube, thanks for tuning in to Tech Stuff and More. This is LB3SA and today I want to talk about Yaesu FTDX10, why I like it so much and why I think other hams have been returning it or putting it up for sale. So I had mine now for a little over a year and I'm very happy I didn't put mine up for sale because I was going to in the very beginning, and when I went to the secondhand market, which is very small here in Norway, there were already like 3 FTDX10s for sale. I waited a couple of weeks, I came back, and then there were 2 more for sale. And it didn't seem like anyone were picking them up either. So I kept mine, thought I'd give it a fair chance, and I'm very happy I did because it has become my favorite in total honesty. So a little bit about a radio first. I will not go into any technical specs or details because it doesn't really interest me. What interests me is the enjoyment factor, how much I'm enjoying using it, which of course is very individual from person to person. And you could be enjoying radios for different reasons, but the actual specs and numbers, I don't think it matters a lot. But this one has excellent IMDR specs and excellent RMDR specs, which I think is due to it being a hybrid SDR, where a part of it is a narrow band SDR, and it has crystal roofing filters, which gives it some of these excellent specs. It's also a direct sampling SDR, which enables it to display the whole width of the band on the spectrum display, which is really nothing new. I mean, this is common these days in newer radios. So that's a bit about a radio, and so why do I like it so much? First of all, the form factor I think is very nice. It's not really a huge selling point, but after having had a Kenwood TS990S on my desk with 2 speakers, it was very nice to save a lot of real estate when I put that off, or when I took it off the table and put up this FTDX10. I also had the FTDX5000 and I had IC7700 and a lot of other radios. But this particular radio, the FTDX10, this is almost like I'm back to the FTDX5000, except in a smaller, more compact format. It gives me the same things, and it even gives me a better spectrum scope. But one of the cons with having a small radio with the same functionality and same features is that it will be more cramped. So it will maybe have something to do with the ergonomics, that they are not as good, which is true. So what I do like about this radio, in addition to the form factor, is the filtering. It has a contour filter, same as the FTDX5000 had, which is very effective. The contour filter is a filter. It's shaping the IF filter passband in a way, so it's very effective and heavy QRM, and I use it quite often. Also, the noise blanker on this one is effective. It actually works. It doesn't do too much to the incoming signals as long as you don't put it up on too high level. Of course, it's always like that. You have to find the right spot for it. But I think it works quite well, and mine is always on level 1 because I do have some constant pulse noise here. Also, the digital noise reduction is very effective. It goes on a scale from 1 to 15, but mine usually sits on 1, and I very often have it on because it makes for very comfortable listening when there is a bit of a white noise or static. And many other hams as well, they are really bragging about the DNR on the FTDX10. I'm using mine mostly for CW, and for CW, what I do when I buy a new rig, one of the first things I check is the audio peak filter or similar features on other radios. But the audio peak filter here is very effective in isolating weak signals, especially when there's a lot of QRM, and I use it all the time. So that's a bit about the filtering of the radio. And while I'm at that, and when we're talking about CW, I have a recommendation, and that's if you pick this radio up and you will be using it a lot in CW, get the 300 hertz roofing filter. It has already a 500 hertz roofing filter. It works quite well, and you can also use the DSP shift, and you can turn it all the way down to 50 hertz, and it works very fine. Very little ringing in the signal, and it's totally audible. And it isolates it very well. But when you put it on, for instance, 300 hertz on CW, and you listen to it, and you turn on and off the optional roofing filter, it's like night and day. So get the roofing filter if you're going to use this on CW. I really recommend it. So now, why is it that some other hams are returning this radio? What seems to be the problem? And I'm pretty sure I know why. And actually, I have heard why. When I picked mine up, mine had been out at the customer's place for 1 or 2 days. And so I got a bit of a discount. So I asked the guy in the shop, I said, so why did you bring it back? And he said that while the person that bought it, he said that his fingers were too big for the radio. So he needed the FTDX10. So he exchanged it for the 101. And he went back with that, and he was all happy about that. So the reason is that the band shift button on this radio is crammed in between the outer VFO ring and the function knob. So this radio has it's not a dual VFO, but it's a regular VFO, and on the inside of it there's a ring around it which you can program to do different things. You can use it to change between memory channels. You can also use it for more coarse VFO tuning, which I use it for, like in larger steps. So you can move faster across the band, and then you use the outer or the inner VFO dial to do the fine steps. So the band button is crammed in between there. And the way you shift band on the FTDX10 is that you push the band button, and then on the screen pops up the band display, so you can select your band and off you go. Also, this radio, like many other radios like this, has a band stack with 3 different what do you call it? 3 stacks or 3 bands within the stack. So I have mine programmed. So one stack is SSB in the SSB area. The next one is CW in the CW area of the band. And then the third one, RTTY, in the RTTY area of the band. So that way I can quickly switch between without having to change the mode or changing the frequency a lot. It's already in the right area. So you know how it works. So anyways, when you push the band button you get up this band display. So as I mentioned, you can select band there and you go to another band. To change within the band stack, what you have to do is to click the band button, and then you click the same band as the band you're already on, obviously, and then it will go to the next stack. But there's also another way of changing bands on this radio. And also modes, by the way. You can push the band button, and then you can turn the inside, the outer VFO ring. You can turn that, and then you can change bands by doing that. But if you push the band button, and if you just barely touch the outer dial, it will go to the next band stack. And this is what happens. This is where the frustration comes. You put your finger in there, you put it on the band button, and as you can see, the finger, which mine are small, mine are narrow fingers, it's almost touching the ring. If you push the band button and you just touch the ring barely, it will go to the next band stack before you get to change the band. And that's the frustrating part. And that's also why larger fingers doesn't work with this radio. So I have gotten used to it, but it took me 3 or 4 weeks because I was never used to it being a problem to push the band button and not be exact with taking your finger in and out from there. So that's one of the reasons, and I also heard other hams complaining about that. The other reason why someone were upset about the use of the radio was when you push the band button and the band display pops up, it has a timer. So if you don't push a band quick enough, it will time out and it just disappears. To start with, it happened way too fast. So even me, which I consider myself to be a fairly fast mover, I pushed the band button, I went to the band display, and before I got to think about it, it disappeared. It timed out. Frustrating as hell. So, but luckily, Yaesu, after a short while, they came out with a firmware update, and they fixed it. So now you have a couple more seconds. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it was enough that now it's no longer a problem, at least not for me. Same thing with the mode button. If you push the mode, it comes with the mode display, and then you have to push it before it times out, right? So those are a couple of reasons that I believe that these radios were returned. Also, one of the other gripes I have is that I wish I had a tune button. Maybe there is one, and maybe I just haven't found it. If you do, please put it in the comments. But I wish you could, for instance, put the MOX button to hold that in, and it will send a CW carrier if you were in CW mode, but it doesn't. So if I'm going to tune, for instance, external PA amplifier, I have to go in the menus two levels deep to set the electronic key over to straight key, and then I can hold one of the paddles and it will send a CW carrier. If not, I could put it to AM mode, which is max 25 watts, and I could send a carrier there, or I can select FM or something. But it's awkward. I wish I could just push a button and do a tune tone like you could on like you can on many other radios. So that's one of my other gripes. Other than that, I'm very happy with the radio. It probably have some other shortcomings too when it comes to SSB mode, but I'm not using mine a lot on SSB. I'm using mine most on CW. But if you're wondering about getting one of these radios, I think you should go for it. It's a very enjoyable radio to use. It has everything you need in a small format. And I tend to think that the Yaesu FTDX line seems to me, they feel like serious radios. They feel like a radio you would bring to do a contest or to do the expedition or something. It seems like a serious radio. So I'm very happy with it again, and by all means, go and get it. You will get used to the band button. It's not really a huge deal. It's just a matter of getting used to it, like I said. So please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I will come out with a couple of more reviews. I will do a FTM 300 and a FT5D. And also I have another HF radio and then some other equipment. So please subscribe so I can, or so you will find your way back here. So thanks for listening, and best 73s. Bye-bye.